Hello everyone. So today I will talk about the pair programming. It's a subject I love because I did pair programming since like 5 years, and after 5 years I will change to my project. So I don't know if I will continue on pair programming or not, but what I will try to do in this talk is just to talk, it's just to explain to you why I find that pair programming is very important, and why I believe that every developer should always develop with a partner. So if you have some questions, we don't have a lot of people, so no need to use maybe Google Slides. We can discuss together about this problem. I find that there is a relation between the development and the sport. I practice sport, now I have an injury, so I'm not practicing since like 6 months. But before I did a lot of sports, and in my talk I will make a lot of metaphor between the sports and the development. And if you do sport, there is a lot of things to bring from the walls of the sport to the training in the development. So, have you tried to pair programming in full time? No. Part time? No? Okay. So maybe you have to try to develop with another person. It could be very interesting because it's different. And I'm happy to have an audience with no one having tried before this kind of programming. So, as I say, it's full-time pair programming. It means when I arrive in the morning on my room at the company, I don't have my own computer. I always share my computer with another person. So, something to know about me is my love to the community. If I love something in the craft and the software craftsmanship in the community, and I find that the community is very important. It's a topic as important as clean code, clean test, and all the technical stuff and other stuff. So try to put your focus on the community, and I think that it is the best way to share knowledge and to progress in our industry. That's why I'm organizing Socrates France. Socrates, it's like an open space conference. If you are interested in that, don't hesitate to come and to speak to me, because we have a lot of versions of this conference. Here I take, it's very similar fun. It's a part of the hobby, I will say, because it's half open space and conference. So I'm working at Aurora. Aurora is a software company at Paris. We love all things helping us to ease software development, TDD, BDD, and DDD. And my client is Baisam, and I did the full pair programming at Baisam. It's a very what I can say. What you have just to know about Baisam is that the business domain is very complex. So pairing let us work and being two persons to deal with complex things, which is very good. So it's a new version just for you. I worked on that last night because I love the conference. It's my first time here, and I were very motivated. So last night I worked on this version just for you. So you are my audience. Don't hesitate to give feedback to me. And as in the title I said, why you should pair programming. So T.A.K.E say that pair programming, it's not about go faster. It's more about waste less strategy. It means that everything that we are doing, and we can avoid to do it and have the work done. Pair programming is about that. So I want to imagine with you a perfect world And let's talk about pair programming. What are the advantages of pair programming? So first of all, you are more focused, because when you are pairing, you have your pair and you are working with your pair. So you are not checking your email, you are not checking your tweet, and you are really focused on that task. So from this point of view, it's very important. I'm not saying that checking Twitter for personal, even for professional. Sometimes I see an important tweet, and I have to see that tweet. But when I am pair programming, I can't do that. So from this point of view, it's very important. And you feel more confident because you are programming. I don't know here in Bucharest if it's a taboo to show your code. Maybe it's the case. In past friends, sometimes it's a taboo. Now it's less a taboo, but like 4 or 5 years, everyone avoids to show the code. Even in the technical hiring interviews, we doing like coding or programming with a developer wasn't something common. Now it starts to become common. So for me, when you are developing with someone, you are writing code, your partner, your pair, will give you a quick feedback about your work. So it's very good. So anyway, you are a winner in both cases. If there is a problem, he will say to you, okay, now I'm not happy. And if there is no problem, you are happy because it means that it's okay. So this feedback is very important. And you share knowledge. Because sometimes when you are working with someone, if we are not okay about a specific topic, you have to explain. Your pair should explain, and there is some sharing of the knowledge, which is very good. And it's fun to program with another person. It's really fun. Why? Because first of all, when the business domain is very complex, we are 2 persons to deal with complex things. So logically, there are more chances to find the solution easier. And you are never blocked, not more than 10 minutes. Before starting pair programming, for example, every time I'm working on a problem, I say, okay, no, I'm smart, I have to find a solution. So I spent a day, I spent 2 days, and you didn't go and talk with your team and say, okay, I have a problem. But when you are pair programming, you try a solution. If it doesn't work, you will ask your partner, and if it doesn't work, finally you will ask the team. So you are not blocked when you are programming, and that is really good. And you are more free, because when, for example, you need to come here to a conference, you don't need to finish a development. When you have to go in holidays, your pair is here. You have just to be synchronized with your pair. And it's very nice, because before pair programming, sometimes when you have to go in holidays, you need to just finish something, or you need everyone needs you. When you are pair programming, you don't have this problem. You have just to synchronize with your pair, which is very nice. And when you have new colleagues, it's always good, because when you are pair programming, the first comer or the newcomer will start typing from the first day. And that's not usual in other projects I worked on. On the other projects you start with reading documentation. Now with pair programming, no, you don't need to do that, because you have your pair, he mastered the software, so that is good. And you are in a continuous improvement, because you are working with other persons, so every time you are learning something new. When you meet new persons, every new person you meet have some skills, and when you are working with a person and you are rotating with other persons, I think that is very nice. And there are less blames. Why? Because we are working together, so if there is a problem, it's the problem of everyone, not your problem. And from this point of view, when, for example, you go in holidays, no one will say, okay, he just wrote some crappy code and he went to holidays. It doesn't exist, because we are working all together, and from this point of view, you will notice that you have, if you are in a good environment, you have all the keys to be a successful developer and to be concentrated on your work. But as I said, that is the perfect world. In real world, things are different. I'm not saying that that is not possible to have this environment. And in the rest of the talk, I will discuss with you all the problems I faced when I program. So if you have the opportunity to experience the pair programming, you will know the things to avoid to be close to the perfect world I described. As I said at the beginning, I love sports, so I will try to explain to you why it's important to pair program with someone. Because everyone here can develop and can make the program works. But why it's important to develop with some other persons? So to develop with other persons, I said 2 brains, it's better than 1 brain. So let's a little bit look in the sports what happens. So I will show you a movement about deadlift. Deadlift is a basic movement in powerlifting sport. Powerlifting is Olympic sport. So it's not like just go to the gym and make a sport. They are very, so I will show you it will be more. So we will start like minute to 1. So here we have the movement. It's a basic movement, but very important. It's called deadlift, and we have a very athlete, a champion, who is doing this movement. Okay? So it's simple looking at that, but it's a very technical movement. And now we will see the same movement, but in partner. So I have just to say to you that the first time I did this one, I understand why it's important to be coordinated with my partner when pairing. Because the first time, even with a charge, I have the capacity and I'm able to move it. When coordinating with other person, it was really hard. Now we'll see the perfect world, because these 2 persons are have some, are performing at a performing level. They are not beginners. So if you are pair programming with another with a pair, it should be like that. We have to wait a little bit for. So it's a hard work. It's like when you are, for example, developing something very complex, but we see that there are a nice coordination at the start and at the beginning. And now we will see in the real world how it happens, because now we don't have champions. So let's start and see this one. So maybe I will just try. You are seeing a mix of athlete working at that, and the more important it's here, just look at this person at the end. Okay. And you know, in pair programming, it's always like that. You are pair programming, and sometimes another person will just make something, or okay, get this keyboard, or and in real world, it's more close to this video than the previous video. So I will start with the keyboard, because in pairing the keyboard is everything. You know, who will type on the keyboard, and that is the main problem. And when it comes to the keyboard, I would like to say stop being selfish, because when you are pair programming, if you don't give the keyboard to your pair, you are really selfish, because the person who is just watching and not typing will lose in skills, because if you are watching, it doesn't work. And the keyboard and the way the keyboard should move between the pairs, it's very important. It says everything about the pair. If you want to know if it's efficient or not, this pair developing together, you have just to look at the keyboard. If the keyboard is just with one person, it doesn't work. It's not per programming. So when you are per programming, you have to avoid to be a watcher, because when you are a watcher, it's really very dangerous for the developer who is watching all the time. So you can imagine, for example, soccer players, and just one player having the ball and not sharing the ball with other persons. That is when you are developing and you are not sharing the keywords. Imagine just the feeling of the person who is looking at the other persons. It's very hard. So the keyboard should be, when you are, for example, giving the keyboard, it should be done naturally. Okay, but sometimes it could be difficult. And when, for example, last time I say, okay, I imagine just to control if it's working or not, to film a pair developing all the day and just replay the film after. If it doesn't, resemble to the moves of Legley, I forgot about the English word. It means that it doesn't. But having some people who are keeping the keyboard all the time does exist, and in order to avoid this problem, we have a lot of solutions. You can, for example, practice ping-pong form. So the idea is to write a test, then make the test green, and write the next test, and then the other pair make the test green. It works very well. This one. I recommend this one because I don't like to have just one person writing the test and the other person writing the code. It's not a good idea, I think, to have this form, but this form it's better because everyone is writing tests and then writing code that works well. You can also time box for 5 minutes, because sometimes the person is unable to give you the keyboard, so you can just set a tomato timer on the navigator, and then every 5 minutes you have to switch the keyboard. And you have to put attention to the coordination, as I said, because you have the problem with the keyboard, but you have the problem with the coordination. As we said in the video, if, for example, they are moving the ball and they don't say each to other, okay, now you have to start, it couldn't work. You know, if I have, for example, a move this chair from here to here, if I do it by myself, it's okay. If we are two persons who do the same work and are not coordinating, it will not work. Even if that we have the ability and the capacity to do that. And when I talk about coordination, I talk about both persons. It means that coordination doesn't mean that I'm developing and the other person is more on Twitter or on his phone. You have to avoid that. When we are developing and we are looking at that screen. We can make a plan together. And if you are playing with someone and he is not paying attention to what you are doing, you have to ask him to look at the screen. I have one colleague, I learned from her. When I'm paired with her, if, for example, sometimes I look at the right or at the left, she said, Houssam, look at the screen, we are working. And she is right, because you have to do that. We are working, we are not playing. And you have to pay attention to that. Because when you are working, you have to do a good work, and when you have to do a good work, the other person should be concentrated 100%. Okay, we can understand that sometimes we have some problems, and sometimes we have to do something, but in this case, you have just to explain that to your pair, and then you have to go to resolve your problem, and to go back and to start developing. But if you are developing, and if you are on the computer, you have to be concentrated. Otherwise, it's not pair programming. So you have to make a plan, you have to be okay with your pair, and you have to start development, and you have to share your thoughts. If you are thinking about something, if you are not happy that you are developing, you have to share that with your pair. You have to think loudly, I will say, because sometimes it's very important. But it's different if you are not doing pair programming. With pair programming, there is no problem to talk loudly. You know, sometimes, for example, if I am developing alone and I am just observing my colleagues, they start talking, and I say, okay, I can't concentrate. And when I switch and I start pair, I pay no attention to the noise. So it's very important. And when we share the open space with our functional colleagues, sometimes it's really fun because we are developing and they are suffering because the noise is sometimes very can deconcentrate people. And another thing you have to pay attention to is to be sure that everyone is actively involved. It means that you are developing and your pair is not talking. He is just next to you, looking at you, but he is not speaking. It doesn't work. It means that there is a problem. So you have to explain to him, discuss with him to understand why. Because everyone should participate to the solution. And if participate to understand the problem. And it's very, very important to pay attention to that. Sometimes, if you notice that your pair is really going too fast, you have to ask him to slow down. And I will give you a funny video about that. It's funny, but it's real. It could happen. So this one is stronger than this one. And now, and what if you don't know of the sports, it means that this one it's really weaker compared to this one, because this movement it's really a very hard movement with high charge, and the squat with the squat you can, for example, move big charges, and in pair programming it could happen. Sometimes you can have someone who is starting with the development, or he don't know a lot about what you are doing. So sometimes you have to be patient because it's your pair programming. If you can't be patient, you don't have to pair program with the person. And it's your responsibility to be close to this person and always remind that maybe doing some tasks you are stronger, but doing other tasks you are weaker. So it's a balance, and you have to pay attention to that. Sometimes what I like to do is the switch time. It means that I am, for example, having the keyboard, I am developing, and then I can receive a call. I have to answer my call, to reply to the phone. And so I will give the keyboard to my pair. And if the time my pair spent to just start developing is long, it means that there is a problem. But it's the perfect one. When you are pairing, if, for example, I don't know, you have to give the keyboard to your pair, if you are working in a nice way, he should be able in 10 seconds or 20 seconds to continue without your help. Flexibility is very good. When we are talking about flexibility, it means just that you have to not force your solution. You have a newcomer in the team. You are working on a problem. If you start and you say, okay, the solution is that, the person, the newcomer, he has no choice because you are more expert than him. So he will just follow you. And it's not the aim and the goal of pair programming. You have to discuss with him with the problem, and you will see that by asking the questions, you will go deeper in your understanding of the problem. And it's very important to take the time, because you have to consider all the time that everyone in the team is a smart person, and smart person Our work is just to be logic sometimes, just to detect the incoherence. And when you are discussing about a problem, when you are understanding the problem, you have to explain, and when you have to explain, you will understand better the problem. And the person listening to you, if you set up a very confident environment and atmosphere, he will ask the right questions, and you will just go deeper in the understanding of the solution, of the problem. And then finding the solution, it's not complex. The more complex in our work is to understand the problem. Look at the domain-driven design. There are a lot of theories about that, theories and practices to understand the problem by discussing with people. So make the most of the pair programming and try always to not force a solution, to discuss the problem with the persons, and it's very beneficial. It's benefit for you and for and try to accept to experiment in new ideas. If, for example, you have a newcomer, he has a new point of view, so try to listen to him and try to experiment the new ideas. It's always good to listen to other persons to see, okay, why, for example, he did that. Sometimes I ask him, why you did that? I don't understand why you do that. And the explanation let me learn something new. And accept feedback. And you have to accept feedback. You have, even, for example, I'm now giving you a talk. After that talk, if you have a feedback, negative feedback, don't hesitate to come and to discuss with me. I know, for example, that my English it's not good enough for the moment, so I am just taking English courses, and I'm trying to improve my English. And having weak points is not a problem. Everyone has weak points. The problem is to not work on this one. These weak points. Okay. Be nice with people. If you have something to say to other person, even if it's not a positive feedback, you can give a negative feedback. And as I said, the negative feedback are not bad, but be nice when you are saying feedback. One technique, for example, for me, I love to use when I am pair programming. If my colleague is repeating himself, we have a kind of card. So I pick the card, don't repeat yourself, and just put that on the keyboard. So my pair laugh, and he understands the message. I don't have to say, okay, no, what is this bullshit you are developing? So be nice. There are a lot of techniques, and it's my technique, but I'm sure that you have another technique to just give a message in a nice way. And support your team, because it's very important. So it doesn't mean that you don't have to say, okay, now I am not okay, but you have to support. If, for example, someone is suffering when you have a deadline, and you have to say to him, okay, you have to support him. And you have to celebrate success. Even if you write a test, don't hesitate to celebrate. In the open space, say, okay, yes, we succeed to do that. It's very important. It's like in sports. If you do sports in a team, it's the same when you are developing. And when, for example, you notice that there is a problem, that your team is not current with what you are saying, don't hesitate to mock program. Mock programming, it means that all the team will be in the same room. We have just one computer, one screen, and you have to work all the team together to understand the problem. And but it's really important in that you have to share, you have some, what I say, consistency in the team. And that is very good. Try to find a balance. Don't, for example, do the same task all the time. And maybe the question that you can ask, does it work for everyone? Well, it depends. For me, pair programming, it's like the difference between solo sport and teamwork sport. If you like to work in a team, and I encourage you to work in a team, so you will love developing a team. If you prefer solo sport, so maybe it's not for you. But when developing with person, have a lot of benefits. Maybe the last advice I can ask you to do is to try pair programming. Try pick a kata, give the draws or whatever you want. Try to develop that alone, and then try to develop that with a pair, and try to see the difference between the two works. What I do with this talk, I prepared, the first time I gave this talk, I prepared by myself. And for Agile France, another conference, I start from scratch and I prepare the same talk with all the team. And it's completely different. I'm not saying that it's better or not better, but it's something to try to just understand what is the difference between working alone and working with a team. Just try. It works if you try. So if you have any question, don't hesitate.